Well, I was considering not making this video, but Kamala Harris almost got elected president of the United States, so I guess, and Joe Biden did, so I guess that means I have to. So, it's going to be titled, What to Do When You Scare Yourself, basically. And it's just kind of about, like, integration of the shadow. Like, let's get into some shadow work for us young... I don't know. Let's talk about myself because I don't know how to like help other people with this stuff. Let's talk about me. So first time I ever terrified myself was one time we were at the fair and I thought my sister was lost. Like, we couldn't find her for like a minute. And I immediately, like, I carry a knife in me at all times because I'm paranoid. I immediately felt this just like if anyone was trying to kidnap my sister, was hurting my sister, and I would never like hurt anyone who wasn't. But if anyone was, I would have slit their throat right then. And I wouldn't have come to till I was washing the blood off my hands. And I just felt that immediately. Like, that's just there. You like, really, like, if I, like, it's just, I think it's a feature, not a bug, though. Like, that's ultimately good. The fact that I have intense paranoia and the immediate overwhelming response to do absolutely anything, hurt anyone, to defend my family, I think it's a feature, not a bug. So, I don't know, but it scares me though a bit, because I'm like, whoa, that means other people who are less intelligent also have the same thing. So, when I'm walking around, like, I have to carry my stick. I was doing this a few days ago, and there's some cops. And I was walking behind them with my stick. So I crossed the road to avoid just walking directly on their sticks with my stick, because I don't want them to shoot me. It's really straightforward. Like, I don't want to get shot, so I'm not going to make other people nervous because I kind of know what it's like to be paranoid. I think people need to be more accepting of their paranoia. This whole thing about, oh, conspiracy this and blah, 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 that. Now, I don't like the conspiracy thing. Like, I was in the sauna earlier today, and I was talking to this dude, or I heard this dude talking. He was going on about the deep state and everything. I was like, oh, you work for the deep state too? And he was like, a few minutes later, he engaged in conversation, and he was like, no, and like, he engaged later. We were chatting. He was telling me about how, like, they're not telling us about Russia's missile that's, like, gonna blow us all up or something. And I'm like, dude, like, okay, like, even if there was this missile that was gonna blow us all up, like, what am I gonna do about that? Like, I mean, first of all, I don't think they're going to, because I study global trade, and I'm pretty sure everyone would lose money if we blew up New England with an intercontinental ballistic missile. And second of all, I'm pretty sure that Putin knows that if he did that, the United States would completely annihilate Russia and the world would be over. I don't think that Putin wants the world to end. I think he's, scratching my nose. I think he's worked very hard to become a black belt in judo and premier of Russia and all this stuff, not to blow up the entire world. I think he enjoys ruling part of the world, and I don't think he wants the world to get blown up. I mean, I don't know though. Again, what am I going to do about this? Like, how is this? He didn't even have a plan of what to do about this. So I just told him I was building a bunker, and then he called me privileged. And I'm just like, whatever, you fucking idiot. Just a moron. Like, honestly, like, so he is not an example of the person I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who are intelligent, and they feel like it is not, they're like, paranoia, especially government paranoia, especially just paranoia, but like proactive paranoia. Like, I'm really paranoid, so I get to know my neighbors. I just try to be really friendly, get to know my neighbors, be active in the community. I want to know people. I want people to know me so that I understand who's around me, because I'm paranoid. But that's not bad. It's not bad to have proactive, productive paranoia. Like, I carry a stick. If I saw a woman or someone defenseless, or even a man or whatever, anyone being attacked by a dog or someone that I could help with the stick, I would. Kind of like, I've even noticed the time I was walking around Haverhill that like just going on walks in the area with a stick, it kind of calms the homeless down. Like they get less uppity because they're kind of like, oh shit, this guy's gonna like whack me or something if I get too uppity, and then they clear out of the area because it gets boring. It's like you kind of restore order to the area in a little bit of a way by just exercising your rights as an American to go for a walk down the street with a hiking stick because you don't feel safe. Like, I don't feel safe in this area. I do right now, actually, but dogs. I mean, I've been attacked by dogs before, and that sucks. But like in April, it's like, I don't feel safe in this area. I'm not going to not walk because I don't feel safe. I'm gonna walk with a stick. So, I mean, now at least you have to shoot me, but that's loud. And you're probably a pussy. I don't know. It wasn't that dangerous of an area. I don't really want to get shot. But at the end of the day, like, okay, like the darkness of our own minds, I guess. Like, how do I deal with the darkness of my own mind? I guess, like, because it's like, I feel like everyone, the more capacity for good you have, the more capacity for evil you have. It's just capacity. Capacity is capacity is capacity. So I have a lot of capacity for good, but I also have a lot of capacity for evil. And due to the nature of my mind, I think about it a lot. I just do. I just think about all the messed up stuff that I could do, like genocides and poisoning people. Not like frequently, but like, I just think about it. Like, I don't know. Because if I don't think about it, then like, someone else is going to think about it. I just want to be generally aware of all the stuff that could happen. So I just think about these things on an ongoing basis. And what I notice is if I talk to other people about that, like certain kinds of people, you get different responses. Like some people are just like, oh my God, like, don't talk about that. If we talk about that, people will think we're the crazy people. And I find that to be a very boring position because I think everyone's thinking these thoughts to some degree. I mean, at least you're thinking like, what if I just ran and punched that old dude in the face or something? You've thought it once, not that you've ever done it. And it's not even that like you think it, like you want to do it. You just thoughts occur to you. Maybe you didn't think about someone else maybe doing that, which is the same as you doing it. Because what's the difference between you and someone else in your own mind? Positioning mentally. So again, your mind just simulates these things. And it's like, I think that society's inability or reluctance to talk about this, at least on certain levels. I mean, like, again, it's like the news has got to be for basically slaves. Like, you can't have, or not slaves per se. I mean, it is kind of like slavery. It's like better slavery, like higher end slavery. I mean, really, unless you're following, I'll just get into Fordism, like whatever, let's get into Fordism. So unless you're following Ford's principles of high wages, you're really just enslaving people and being a slave. Like ultimately, Ford's model is really the only model, as I see it, that doesn't basically, well, I mean, there is like, I really do not like the lack of acknowledgement of fiat currency creating a different system. Like the game is actually different with fiat currency than it is with straight up silver-backed dollars because the math all works differently. And it's like, at least if the currency is real, then I can argue that you're not a slave. But like, if you're just on a fixed income, you're just a slave in the greatest country on earth. And it's like, slave, servant, I don't know. I think about this stuff a lot. Everyone, I think people do though, and I want to get into this. Like, I want to actually get into these, I want to have a space where I actually make long form videos and get into real thoughts. Like, what is modern slavery, everyone? I mean, I don't know. I'll just throw this out there. So I was working an ABA job at Applied ABC. They're a terrible company. Never work for them or have anything to do with them. I'll name drop them all day because they're terrible. They don't pay their employees at all. They just, not even like, oh, they don't pay well. Like, they'll tell you they're going to pay you $2,000 this month for hours worked. And then only 1,000 shows up, and they'll just give you a million excuses as to why. And I realize this is happening to like everyone in my generation. That's why I started my own company. Or went all in on my own company. I was just like, you're telling me that like this entire culture is just shaming me to work my way up like a responsible person, and going to do that in Massachusetts, like, it's just, like, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't do it. Like, you need family. You need family. You need, like, support systems. You need people to help you to get things going enough to actually even be able to find a job that'll give you the paycheck they promised you. So that's, like, that's kind of dark. And then I just, like, I think about, I don't know, I think that the thing about managing dark situations is that ultimately the darkness in you is ultimately like, you kind of play with it, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you use it to imagine what could happen so you can prepare. You use it to know that if something were to go down, like let's say a dog is just gonna like attack me right now, I'm like, it's me or this dog. Like, I can like go into like the dark, like the killer, like the ultimate, like I can go into the part of me that would rip something apart and enjoy it thoroughly. It's a part of me. It's part of everything that's alive. Otherwise, I would be alive. Life is war. It's not the predominant part of me. It's not even close. Not even 1%. But it's there, and that's useful. Like, in order to ultimately keep real monsters at bay, like pedophiles and stuff. Like, and I don't want to go seeking out pedophiles again. Like, let's like keep this in mind. This is kind of like how I think about these things. Like, if you're in seeking out, like, I'm just gonna go hunt down pedophiles, and like, you probably feel guilty about not spending enough time with your kids or something, or you're onto something. I don't know. Just fuck it, whatever. I don't know. If you're gonna go hunt down someone, go hunt down pedophiles. Like, if you weren't doing that, you would probably be killing other people or just doing something. The energy's got to go somewhere, is what I'm saying. So if it's gonna go somewhere, it's got to go that place. So ultimately, at least it's finding a constructive outlet, though I don't necessarily think that that's the best for people, like on an individual level. Like, I wouldn't really encourage people to do that, because again, you could be spending that time with your kids, and at the end of the day, you're not going to root out evil by fighting evil with evil. Like, you're not going to get rid of bullies by bullying people into not bullying. Sounds crazy, but you're not. The only way to get rid of bullies is, like, I guess I think Japan has an interesting approach. Just teach everyone judo. I think that's a really good idea. I think that basically means to raise society up. Like, instead of saying, oh no, danger, darkness, if people hurt your family, you want to nail them to a cross in the middle of the woods, cut all their skin off and light them on fire. Like, not that they have hurt my family, but like, I even say these things though, because I'm like, if anyone's ever thinking, but not that anyone who's watching my YouTube videos would be, but again, I even said, so this is like how crazy I am. So it's nothing crazy. This is just logic. So like Madison, I got a call from my sister when she was in Hawaii, and like, I was like, Madison, and she didn't say anything, and I was just like, oh, hey, well, Madison, if it's you, great. If it's not you, someone's kidnapped Madison, I will hunt you down, I will nail you across the middle of the woods, I will cut all of your skin off, and I'll light you on fire. And she was just like, thanks, Devin. I'm like, I love you, Madison. She knows I love her. It's like, it's good though, because I'm just like, at the end of the day, I don't really know what turns the decision gears of monsters. So I just want, like, I intensely feel like it's necessary to be a monster, and that it's good, but it's also like a monster with a family, you know what I mean? Like, within a community of other monsters, like the Mycenaeans. I think the Mycenaeans are a very good model of this. The Vikings managed to get along with each other. Ultimately, you really only run into issues where you have some segment of the populace that's much, much, much weaker mentally, physically, etc. They don't think this way. They're like, if I just act nice, then people will be nice to me. And then they get bullied. Like, you get like bullied. Like, you get like bullied, but like bullying can look like the rape of Nanking. Like, this is why I'm making this video about dark stuff. This is a dark video, but I'm making this video because Kamala Harris almost got elected, and we live in a world where the rape of Nanking happened. So in the Japanese, not going to go too into it because it's absolutely horrific. But go into it in your own time. If you have the stones, you should. It's a thing that happened and could happen again. Those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. I don't know if you want to repeat that bit of history. So go look at the rape of Nanking. Like, just go look into it. Like, the Japanese, this city surrendered, and the Japanese like, oh, you surrendered. Well, we view you as dogs for surrendering. Because you're dogs, we're going to rape every single person in this city. Most of them to death. And you can read about all the ways they did it. It was systematic. And I'm not saying, like, read about the Salem witch trials. I'm not saying that I don't believe in human goodness. I really do believe in human goodness. But I cannot help myself from recognize that this goodness is contingent on, like, even like the United States military. Like, what's to say the United States military doesn't do that? Well, there are good men in the military. What do you mean good men? You mean men that if someone tried to do that, they put a bullet between their eyes? That's what a good man is. It's brutal violence. A good man is someone who, when he sees evil, does brutal violence to that evil without thinking. I just put that together right now. I mean, I'm not even like, this isn't scripted. I just need to say this because this needs to be articulated. People need to take these emotions. They should train martial arts. They should lift weights. Should find community. They should get to know their community. They should have children. Start businesses. Start businesses founded on good principles. Like, you know what prevents evil? Healthy people living great lives. Having barbecues because they're healthy and happy. And they have something that they believe in that's good. That comes from health. Me working to make my business to provide people with the information, the supplements, the resources that they need to be maximally healthy or be healthy at all or survive at all is me fighting evil. I'm not fighting evil. I'm building goodness. The same way that I'm not going to go stab a heroin dealer, I'm going to do push-ups. Because if someone ever did violence to my own, I would be ready. But I'm not going to go seek it out because it's just this random happenstance. Like, violence is a murderous pirate drunk on God knows what, with a past of God knows what, and no sense of right or wrong. Like a real, it's the wrong place at the wrong time. It's like John Wayne Gacy. When you got John Wayne Gacy, but you know who he couldn't get? The wrestler. The wrestler escaped, put him in the handcuffs himself, and left. Because he knew. Because he was used to violence. If you're immunized against violence, if you think about violence, if you breathe it in, you breathe in the death around you. Think about all, like, the trees. Like, look at these trees. There's trees right here. They smothered the light out of all the other trees in the area so that they couldn't grow up. Like, there's deer. They're going to get eaten by wolves and coyotes and stuff and bobcats. And, like, their young will get preyed on by eagles. And the eagles will be happy and they'll nuzzle their mother and that'll be love. And it's this weird world we live in. But you can control a little slice of that, and you can make sure that your children, your family doesn't die before their time in a horrible way. I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful for everyone to be healthily dying at a good rate, you know, like dying healthily. It's all dying slow, but as long as it's good, it's healthy. It's not like your organs are falling out, spilling everywhere, and you're just kind of like, I mean, hopefully we don't even die. I mean, like, I don't know. I'd love to, like, not die in the body. That'd be interesting. Or at least a few hundred years. I don't really know. I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time, 1 year at a time, 1 decade at a time. Who knows? I'm kind of looking back at the last 25 years, and I'm thinking, wow, like that was a trip. I had all these goals and they all played out in all these different ways, and like I'm still me, and the goals did the things, and I'm an adult now, and I got kids of my own, and like it's a real trip. It was really interesting. Like, not that it wasn't intentional, but it's like you just pause to reflect and you're like, whoa. But what's really the point of this video? What's the point of a video about darkness? About what to do when you scare yourself? And like what to do when you think about the darkness within you. You think about your own addictions and your own weakness. Like, I've heard of people who, I've met people who have torn themselves to pieces because of things they let happen to their children through inattention and negligence. I've met people who have torn themselves to pieces because of weakness. They're like, I did this and I let this happen, and I won't get into it because, but it's like, what do you do with that? Make a video about darkness. You gotta be aware it's out there. If you're not aware it's out there, that's the problem. If you weren't already thinking of it. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. Like, my dad's very paranoid, so I had a great childhood in that regard. But my children are also very lucky because I'm very paranoid. But the thing that, like, you see, the thing you see is, like, you gotta have that in your mind. And it really comes back to the Kamala thing, the Kamala Harris thing. Like, it's like wishful thinking. It's just, I don't know what people's individual reasons for voting for Kamala Harris are. I don't know what any of that is. I don't know what that means to people. But what I do know is that it seems to me that there's a lot of people who are being marketed this idea that America is the land of the free. And what that means is it's the land of no responsibility. It's the land of the government's going to take care of you because you're free. And that's what freedom means, is being taken care of and being safe and being provided for, and being regulated and being controlled, being told what to do, and being like told where to be and being watched all the time, being told what you can buy. You have no idea how much you're controlled. The whole industries cannot even be, like nuclear, pharmaceuticals, all this stuff, aerial transportation, all cannot be done, cannot be worked in because the government says, no, citizen, you are not to be powerful. Only I am to be powerful. This can't go wrong at all. People shouldn't be aware of the fact that faceless bureaucratic agencies are taking away all of their individual liberties, or at least a lot of them. People shouldn't be intensely paranoid about anyone who tells them to disarm, anyone who tells them that they do not need guns, that they do not need to be paranoid about people trying to take their guns. That's really, it's really a broader thing. It's really like, because it's also, it freaks me out too though, because I think about my own, like, I think to fight monsters, be careful you do not become a monster. I think that my fight with insomnia, my fight mentally against the forces of potential evil that I view, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's mostly just awareness. Like, I think insomnia has paranoid me a bit too. I'm literally just getting over this. Like, I literally, like, this is the, like, these last 2 weeks are the only weeks I've been, like, actually, like, sleeping a normal amount. And it's like, I've just been getting exhausted. So, like, the sleep debt's been catching up with me. So I'm kind of also sifting apart paranoid thoughts that are normal from the non-paranoid thoughts. That's such a thing with insomnia. That's why I'm making this video. I had the free associative form. Like, I really can't worry about how I come across because I don't even know. Like, I'm talking about this. I'm trying to tie this stuff to my own life experience so that maybe that could be helpful to other people. And it's at least helpful to me to express it, so that I know that I've expressed it. And now that it's out there and I've expressed it, I can move on to other thoughts that I can then express in different and more nuanced ways that I might not have done if I had thought that there might be other thoughts left to express on a certain topic. So that's definitely a benefit of it, but I don't know. I guess ultimately just acknowledging darkness and then thinking about it, journaling about it. It's fine. Look at my face. There's light and there's dark. I think the issue with addictions, with anything, at least I've noticed in my personal life, like, because I've definitely had addiction problems when having insomnia, like, be it like porn addiction or like substance dependency to feel good. Like, I'm like, I need to smoke insane amounts of weed to feel good, or I'm gonna like get drunk to try to feel good. Oh my God, that made everything so much worse. I'm not gonna do that again. All this stuff, and I'm just like what do I make of that? It's just like, what do we make of our, I guess as my grandfather called it, like Nazareth pile? Like, what do you make of this pile of incoherence or something? And I would just say, like, there's room for incoherence. Just build the coherence, work on the coherence, and you can sprinkle the incoherence around the sides, you know? Like, you don't see what's in the dark right there, but you don't really need to, because the rest of it provides frame. You can't really banish the dark by shooing the dark. You just focus on the light. So, I don't know. I guess I'm also ultimately trying to express the idea that the darkness and the light need each other, but the darkness depends on the light. I think that's what fatherhood is it's like, you have to be a monster to fight monsters to protect your children. But that's not, you're not really a monster then. It's like, you're just like a good kitty. It's like, what's the difference between like a jungle cat that's protecting you and the jungle cat that's eating you? Well, one's eating you and the other one's protecting you. So you're going to like one, you're not going to like the other one. I think that evil beyond that comes from, I don't know, honestly. I'm just gonna be real, like, I don't know. I try to think about like where evil comes from, and like, I don't know where evil comes from. The more I try to think about it, it's like, it just kind of, you end up kind of like losing your mind a bit, trying to like figure out the source of evil. Like, evil kind of functions on the absence of good. It's like, evil is like what arises when there isn't good. It's like, what causes disease? It's like, I don't really, not being healthy enough. Like, I don't know, like, it's like things are just always going wrong, and you have systems that make them work better or fix them. So you need to just keep all the systems working really well so that those systems fix the other systems. And also keep in mind that no system's going to be complete, so you just need a basic level of paranoia, or perhaps even paranoid individuals in a society. I think about this too. And this is just where I throw all these ideas out there, because I don't really like, oh God, like, I don't want to like throw around names, because like, I don't know, I'll just talk names, whatever. These are all people I respect and anything. So, like, Keith Abloh, I was talking about insomnia like ages ago. Keith Abloh, who's had his own media troubles, hit me up and he was like, hey man, the way you're talking about insomnia on Facebook, you shouldn't be doing that. People are going to think you're going to blow up a place. And I'm like, well, like, I see why you said that, but I'm still going to double down on this, because I can't think of another way of talking about it that's honest. I think it needs to be talked about. And I'm also a sane person, and I have faith that if I make coherent content presenting my ideas, despite how out there some of them may seem, given the Overton window of acceptable ideas in a society, I believe that people will evaluate the ideas and say, you know what, I feel like this guy is a little, like, he's a little intense. He's definitely a little intense, but like, intense people get stuff done. And I agree with these ideas, and I think that these things are ultimately good. Like, I've had this thought too, like Week to Warrior, like, so I'm making these videos right now for Week to, like, that's not for Week to Warrior, it's for me, it's for just like Devin, but I'm the CEO of Week to Warrior. I'm the CEO and founder of Week to Warrior, and I'm just imagining, this is why I'm never gonna have a board, but like, I'm imagining some future where Week to Warrior is like, you know, Devin, you gotta stop making these videos, it's bad for the public image. I'm just like, what even is the public image? Isn't this civilization founded on Western civilization? This is Western civilization, right? And that's the civilization that traces its roots back to the Mycenaeans, who overthrew the Trojans. They were nuts. But they were very, very competent and also well-reasoned people who were civilized. I don't think these things are different. I think people, like, I think this idea of, like, normalcy, I really don't like this idea of normalcy. It creeps me out because it's disingenuous, and then I can't root out the real lunatics. I don't want there to be a standard answer that everyone gives. Because now it's hard for me to tell the real lunatics. Everyone's just saying the same thing. I want to really get into it. I'm like, what do you actually think? Like, I ask people, like, babysitters, I'm like, what do you think the penalty should be for pedophiles? Really, like, what do you think the penalty should be? Just look at their face while they answer. You only get one life, and if you mess it up, I don't think you get a redo. It's kind of dark, but only if you don't recognize it and understand it and live your life from that. And I think that that's wisdom. I hope that's helpful to you.